Welcome to lesson 21, where we're going to talk about wrapper classes. Wrapper classes take things that we've already been dealing with and turn them into objects. So that, remember when we created objects back in lessons 15 and 16 with different classes? Now with wrapper classes, we're able to save integers, doubles, and all sorts of different types as objects instead of just values. So if you go to that resource that I have posted, it takes you to this website that talks to you a little bit more about wrapper classes. And I want you to look at the wrapper classes. So these primitive data types are ones we've already dealt with. Well, maybe not, but we've dealt, or short, we've dealt with int, we've dealt with doubles, we've dealt with chars, we've dealt with booleans, and there's float and there's double. So float, if you look in your calculator, float actually tells you how many decimal places you can use, whereas double just gives you every decimal point available. So they're both what you would call floating point numbers, but float will tell you how many decimals you can have, and a double just gives you all that are available. So like float would give you 3.14, double would give you 3.14159,625. So you may be asking yourself, why do we need to change what we're doing? We've been setting them as data types. Why do we need to put them as objects? So what we're coming to in the course is we're getting to a point where we're going to start having more complicated programs, not necessarily harder to do programs, but ones that are more complicated programming-wise. And what we're going to be creating is different classes that require objects to be passed to them. So that's what we're going to be learning in lessons 21 and 22. So if you look down here, there's some hierarchy. So just take note of this for right now. And actually, this website does a really good job of describing this. So say you want a piece of chocolate. You don't just want to go to the store and hack off a big old hunk of chocolate that everyone else has been touching. You want yours to come in a bar that has the foil wrapper on it so that you can safely eat your chocolate. That's kind of what the wrapper class is. That wrapper class is kind of like the foil around the integer so that it's packaging things that are easier to disperse to different classes. There's not really a whole lot of difference between the syntax, like the way you write out the class, the wrapper versus the data type. The main way you're going to notice is that like int, which was lowercase int, is now capital I integer. Double is lowercase, but now in the wrapper class it has a capital D. So the big way you're going to recognize a difference between the primitive data types and your wrapper class is that capital letter to delineate. So let's take a look at how this will actually play out for us. So go ahead and create a lesson 21 class, and we're going to start some programming here. So back in the day when we wanted to calculate something, we'd say like int x equals 3, int y equals 4. Then we come down, do system out print line, and we'd print x times y. And when we would run that, we would get 12. Perfect. So now we want to change this to a wrapper class. So instead of int, we're going to type integer. And you'll notice it's not an error. Just make sure your I is capitalized. Integer. So now we have two wrapper classes in there, and it's not giving us any errors. So if we run it, it should still give us 12, and it does. Okay, so say you have to write a code that's going to store this wrapper class as an int. So all you would need to do is say like int z equals I. And that's sufficient. Say integer x is just an int. If you want to convert that into wrapper class, say integer u equals x. So this is convert from wrapper to primitive. This is convert from primitive to wrapper. Okay, so now I do want to show you that you can even, you see how we have X is an int and Y is a wrapper class? And we have 0 errors on multiplying them. And if we ran this, we would still get 12. So these are interchangeable. You can multiply integer primitive data types with your integer classes. That is all of the new material for lesson 21. And I just want to point out to you, if you look in your book right here, this is how it used to be done. So all this business right here, did you see how easy we just had it? Think your lucky stars we weren't learning Java like 10 years ago. This would have made your life a lot harder. Now I'm pointing it out to you because maybe in the future, if you are working on a program that maybe someone else has written, they could have things like this in here. So just keep an eye out. You know, you can always come back to lesson 21 in your Blue Pelican Java book. So good luck with the questions. Please let me know if you have any yourself. There is no project for lesson 21, only the questions.